I think New Zealand's innovation system is in pretty good health, and I think there's at the IP generation or new company generation end of the market, there's some great companies that are coming through. At the moment, based on the Tin 100, there are about 5.2 billion of export dollars earned from technology companies in New Zealand. The biggest challenges for New Zealand technology companies, once they get past the initial early stage of growth and when they want to start looking offshore and accessing offshore markets, there's two things that are really challenging. One is to raise the additional capital that they need to grow, and also getting the right expertise in those markets and in those sectors that they're operating in. So the capital issue is a really challenging one. They can usually get the first 1 to 2 million of capital in New Zealand from angel investors and from some of the VCs here. It gets much tougher when you're needing to go into the US market or into the Asian market to raise the next 10 million of capital, and for that to be not only capital but deep capability to know how to enter those markets and grow in those markets. To attract offshore investors into your company, there's quite a few things that are really important. First of all, I think your technology or your company, what you're trying to do, there really needs to be a very credible market opportunity, not small scale, not just a New Zealand market opportunity. So you need to be able to demonstrate that there is really the potential to scale. You also need to be able to demonstrate that you've got customers already and that you've proven the technology and that it's worked with some trial customers and that they like what you've got. And finally, I think you have to. You don't necessarily have to have the whole team in place, but as an entrepreneur, you need to be able to demonstrate that you've got the vision and the energy to build a company around not just yourself, but a very professional team. So all of those things, I think, come together if you want to attract investors, and then you need to be able to really look very carefully at the sort of investors that you need on board, the sector specialists, and focus for the entrepreneur to focus their energy on where they might find those investors, rather than just doing a broad sweep and going to lots of people who really may not be that interested. So getting quite targeted, I think, important for the entrepreneur as well. The New Zealand Venture Investment Fund was established in 2002, not long after a number of other countries, including Israel, the US, Singapore, looked at establishing similar types of funds. And it's a $300 million investment fund. Its focus is young technology companies. And the reason that the government got involved in providing this kind of capital was very much, this is high-risk investment, and the purpose is really to catalyse more of this kind of investment activity. The way it works is we partner with private investors who are putting their own money in as well. So it's really about catalysing more private investment activity into these young companies. I mean, we can work with both New Zealand and international investors, and most of the investors, particularly when the companies are young, are New Zealand-based investors, but as the companies grow and as they are of more interest internationally, then it's not unusual to see international investors come alongside as well. And we've formed investment partnerships with two offshore groups, one venture capital fund, which is Valor Ventures, Peter Thiel, who made his money from PayPal. We have a venture capital fund partnership with him, which is still focused on New Zealand, only New Zealand companies. We also have formed an investment partnership with the National Development Fund of Taiwan, which is a similar government entity. And that's to work with them to look at companies in New Zealand that would have an appetite to extend and grow into the Taiwanese market. I think there's 2 or 3 different types of technology companies that emerge in the New Zealand market. Some of them are typically in the software area, are always going to be companies that are looking for an offshore exit, that they have some technology or innovation that will be attractive to another much larger technology company. They're probably never intended to be a New Zealand for all time company. The benefit for New Zealand of those companies is if New Zealand investors have invested in those companies, when they sell or exit offshore, then generally those investors will reinvest. If they've had a good investment in technology, then they're pretty happy to invest again. Then there are those companies where the innovation or technology is very much connected to New Zealand, and that might be something agricultural or in the food innovation area. And then I think there is a huge advantage to those companies staying in New Zealand. They won't be. They may have some offshore ownership, but the benefits of employment and returns to New Zealand investors will stay here. Ideally, a mix of those, I think, and certainly I think really important that we have a number of companies that are staying in the New Zealand market that are offering employment and growth to the New Zealand economy. It's absolutely possible for us to have innovation hubs in New Zealand. I think that's been demonstrated already. It might be a little sensitive to talk about the marine industry, but nevertheless, New Zealand excels and has a very strong hub of innovation in that area. Likewise in the film area. So where there are innovations and technologies where New Zealand has particular strength, and if you look at the dairy industry, for example, and extensions of that in innovation and technology sense, I think New Zealand can create and develop much stronger hubs. I think for areas like software and technology, we've got a very strong and active area. It's one of the most active areas in New Zealand already, and because those things are light, if you like, in an export sense, then yes, we can excel in those areas as well, provided we've got the right entrepreneurial environment to encourage young people to stay here.